I'm very, very passionate about being a partner to the business. Running technology as a partner to the business. That's been the running theme of my career all the way through. I really do believe that technology and the business together can drive forward and increase revenues using the right tools at the right time at the right place. My education has been pretty much on the job learning and some very, very hard, if you don't do this right, it's going to be big trouble. So, I really learned from the bottom up, but I've really, really appreciated the fact that my managers have put that faith in me. Thing is with me is that I will literally work any hours to get the delivery for the business. That's me. You set them a goal and bang, they'll run and they'll hit the goal. So China for me, in terms of overall, Hong Kong and China is very much like my sweet spot. I have a very, very clear directive. I know exactly what I need to do, and banking is not boring. It's very, very there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn, specifically on the products, Because I've moved so many business units and because I've done all these hops in all the countries, I've never got bored. I'm definitely on the learning curve.
Thanks for joining here and then accepting our invitation to be a part of the Automation Age podcast and magazine. So coming to start with, so Linoy, you have spent close to 2 decades in HSBC across the regions that includes Hong Kong, Mexico, and now Middle East. So take us back to the beginning of that journey. What originally drew you into the banking technology? How did early experiences shape the way you think about the technology role in the financial services today?
So I did my degree many, many years ago. Don't want to say how old I am, but multiple years ago. And at the time, technology was at the cutting edge. And I've got a very, very funny story, actually, that underpins how I got into banking and technology. So I had my daughter very young. I had her as a teenager. And I remember going into, in the UK, there's this thing called, you get career advice. So you go and you get career advice and, so I turned up to career advice with my daughter, who was a baby at the time. And I said, I want to start a job, please help me. And they did me a huge favor. So imagine that was on the Friday. The guy, he said, you're in luck. There's a business and technology degree starting on the Monday. And because you have your daughter, I'm going to enroll her into the creche there at the university, and it will be free. So that guy literally changed my life forever. So I did my degree in business and technology, and then I ended up in ABN AMRO, and then I ended up in HSBC. ABN AMRO many, many years ago, HSBC close to 20 years ago now. But I'm very, very passionate about being a partner to the business, running technology as a partner to the business. That's been the running theme of my career all the way through. I really do believe that technology and the business together can drive forward and increase revenues using the right tools at the right time at the right place, as well as the right people at the right place at the right time as well. So that's basically been my ethos sort of running all the way through. But when I was at university, it really was the cutting edge of technology. The internet was just getting started. It was very, very like super fun, you know, like a very, very, it's almost like AI now. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, we were getting email and, you know, and the internet was being born effectively when so that had a massive impact on what I chose as a degree, and then became, you know, a massive passion as well. And then I always have said to everyone and on every podcast that I've ever done that I love my job. And when I became a leader of men and women, you know, that's when everything became aligned. So so it spearheaded me forward. And since then, I've lived. I feel like I've lived all over the world, but like I started in London, went to Hong Kong, went to China, went to Mexico, back to Hong Kong, and then to Dubai. So it's been a real interesting roller coaster ride of a career, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean that's quite interesting. So like in most of the cases, like what the basic graduation you do, I mean you don't land up doing the job in that I mean the kind of the career or like the degree you have chosen. So like if I were to talk about myself, like I did microbiology, and there is no correlation like of microbiology
Actually,
versus what I
my degree and my work is completely correlated. It's like
exactly
it's just
exactly
like a flow, you know. But
exactly.
it's because I did an internship at ABN AMRO, so it was
Mhm.
like, and then I became a graduate of ABN AMRO. Yeah, so it was like a full on continuation. But yeah, to be honest with you, it was really funny in those first days at ABN AMRO. I was still like opening my thesis, you know. Like, oh, let's put into practice what I learned at school. So it was
Yeah.
really fun, really
Yeah, and
fun.
that gives you like the practical experience because like whatever like you have learned as a degree, however like the good the college or the university is in, but like on job is always a different ball game. Like it's like in cricket we say
Yeah,
that when you do the net practice you can hit a century, but you can
yeah,
get
yeah,
clean
yeah.
bowled when you are like on the wicket. So that's how like typically it is said. So when you look back across the years, the specific moment of the or the inflation point that fundamentally
Mm,
changed your approach, leadership, or the innovation.
mm. So I've had, like, you know, those pinnacle moments in your career where you're like, this is life changing. So I'll give you an example. When I was in London, I I wasn't the leader, but I was kind of acting as the leader because my
Mhm.
leader had a baby, and he couldn't do the late nights, the weekends. So basically, he took me into a room and he's like, Linoy, you are doing my job. I'm going to give you my job because I'm not at the place in my career that I can do it. I can't give the time. I want to be at home with my baby. And if you think about it, that guy is very brave, yeah, to give his role. Like, he literally gave me his management position and then went back in the line. So I think that type of thing is just very gallant of someone to do that, and also helped me tremendously in my career. So I became a manager, yeah, and I became a manager quite young. I was only 28 when I got that role, and I was managing people all over the world. So we
Mhm.
had a team in Hong Kong, we had a team in New York, we had a team in London, and I had to do this follow the sun piece of work as well. It was very complicated, and also the business was growing. So at the time, the volume was like 2,000 a day, and then we went to 20,000. So you have to
Mhm.
then deal with scope creep on the system, and can the system cope with it? And then you're hitting capacity, and luckily for me, in that system, I was the expert. So if the system went down, I would be the one that they would call. You know, so the traders really, really appreciated my work. My managers really appreciated my work, and it was, you know, it was a pivotal time for me. But I do remember that the transition from technician to manager was quite tough. I had a meeting with my boss and he's like, do you want to be a developer? If you want to be a developer, I'm going to stick you back in the line because we need a manager. We need someone to set the strategy and set the scene and be proactive on the estate. And you're just coding. It's like, so he really gave me a pet talk. You know what I mean? It was like, if you want to do Unix and Python and all the rest of it, then it's fine. But I'm going to give someone else your job. And I remember thinking, no, I don't. So I remember at that time, because I was so young, I took one of my guys who was like close to 50 and I said, okay, teach me how to manage. And he literally sat me down and he was like, this is how you delegate, this is how you put a strategy in. And he taught me. So my education has been pretty much on the job learning and some very, very like hard, like if you don't do this right, it's going to be big trouble. So I really learned from the bottom up, but I've really, really appreciated the fact that my managers have put that faith in me, and what that has meant is, and I was thinking about this, I was reflecting on it a few weeks ago, because if you have a look at what they did with my career, so I was in the line, yeah, and then they put me in, and I became a manager of a small team. And then they moved me to Hong Kong and they put me in charge of a big team and they said, now you're gonna do CTB and RTB together. And then they put me in China and said, okay, now set up a team from scratch. No one's here. It's all on you. So think outside the box, think how you're going to do that. And we want the people to be progressive and to have the best skills. And then they took me from China and brought me back to Hong Kong. And then they gave me a huge role. Very, very business heavy, and like if anything goes wrong, the exchange is going to call you. And then they gave me CIO of Mexico, which is again another huge role. And then they moved me and they gave me the whole of MENA, the whole of the Middle East. So it's like every step of the way of my career, they've really, really thought about how can we grow her as an individual in the organization, and how can we grow her career in a certain way to make sure that she's constantly ready for the next role. So it's almost like there's precision on the decision making on my career, which I thought was kind of genius in a way. And I wish that I could give that to my people. Yeah, that I have that forethought of that kind of career development for people in my team. So that's basically and every step of the way, like every country that I've been to, my managers have always helped me. And then the other thing, which I'm sure we're going to come to, but they let me do. I set up a charity 11 years ago, and they let me do that as well. So it's like if you nail your day job, then the extra stuff that you want to do, which is give back to the community, you can do it. So I've been very it's very advantageous for me in this career that I've had to do.
Yeah, I mean that as you rightly said, your manager was really courageous to really offer that kind of role. I mean, you were doing standby for him while he was taking care of his family and baby. But when it really takes a big heart, I mean, to assign that day, because 99% people will have that fear of losing the job. I mean, that kind of saying what if some bright candidate takes over? I mean, whether when I come back, whether I will exist or not. I mean, that's a really courageous decision. Again, you pointed out a lot of good things, where you were put in China, you were did the things in Mexico. I mean, how has this the global experience, which is since you are dealing with a different culture, different country, because each country will have their a different culture. I mean, what were some biggest learning curves, taking this out of the culture, and then again that blending that with the adapting the technology strategy because of this diversity. Then each country will have the different regulatory environment, the customer expectation because of the cultural, and then the market. I mean, will be different. So how you could strike that balance, like?
So every country has its own nuance on culture, on working style, and I had to adapt my management. I had to be adaptable because the thing is that for anyone that's kind of worked with British, and I I'm British, right? So I'm very military. Like I like dates and I like delivery on those dates. Like that's me. And I'm always like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, done. And the thing is with me is that I will literally work any hours to get the delivery for the business. Like that's me. Like this Christmas we were working till 3 a.m. to get a delivery live. And we just wanted to get the delivery in one piece. So that's always been that's what I want. And but not every location is like that. Every location is slightly different. So in China, I love to work in China because the delivery is very, very on point. Like bang, 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 bang. Like you set them a goal and bang, they'll run and they'll hit the goal. So China for me, like in terms of like overall, Hong Kong and China is very much like my sweet spot, I would say. In Mexico, I had a very short space of time to deliver. I only had 2 years, and I said to them when I arrived, I said, "Listen, I have a very, very clear directive. I know exactly what I need to do, and I need to deliver it. And this is the team to do it. Like I can't go out and hire and all of that. So, please, you have to." You have to deliver for me, but the way that Mexico is, it's all like in the room, it's yes, and then when you come back for the delivery date, it's my piece of paper got lost on the way in. Do you know what I mean? It's all like that kind of thing, and you're like, so I had to be very, very hard on my team there, but to be fair, we really, really, really did deliver. Like everything that we needed to deliver, we delivered, and then and above and beyond as well. So so that was good. And then in the UK, it's very, very mature market, right? So you have these amazing brains. Like I remember thinking of coming into work one day. I had like a, like someone who just finished their PhD, another one's like some genius in maths. They can write the Black-Scholes formula and the Monte Carlo and they can do quants and they can do algos. And I just remember thinking, I'm just not. This is the best team I'm ever going to work with. Like they are unbelievable. Like what you can achieve with this team is like next level. Do you know what I mean? And what I loved about it is they had all the. So I have a fundamental belief that you should hire people who are more talented than you, which means that you leave this legacy of talent behind. Yeah. So when you leave, nothing's going to fall over because you've hired multiple levels of talent. And I remember in the UK, I remember that the talent that we managed to pull in was phenomenal, and that team is still there, but a lot of them went into the business and are now higher up in the organization than me, and I'm so proud of them. I'm like, that's incredible. Yeah. And the same thing for China. I'll just give you a bit of a background around China. We wanted to do something slightly different in China. We didn't want to go to market in China. We wanted to get graduates from Chinese nationals that went to the UK, Canada for that education and then bring them home, because at the end of their university tenure, they actually have to go home. They don't have visa. So what we did is we went to the universities, we did the interviews, and then we brought them home. And then what we did is we did a boot camp of, this is everything you need to do, everything you need to know on the business side, and this is everything you need to know on the technology side. And then we tested them. They needed to get 80% and above, and then they would go into the technology team, so we'd slot them in. But that program worked very well, and those guys are still here. One of them is like a director in risk and control. Another one is a trader. So that team, like, I'm so proud of that team. So imagine, I set this up with 14, 15 years ago, and they're like flying. All those guys are flying, and they got such an amazing base of education. And now they're flying in the bank as well. So it's very, very nice. Like, to see that kind of thing, it's like, it makes you proud, yeah, because you did all of that work and now you're seeing the fruits of your labor. And I still have coffee with those guys who used to work with me, because it helps me think about best practice, AI, the use of AI, the use of, they're like, it's like reverse mentoring. It's quite nice.
Yeah. And I think I like the idea, like you said, like what China is great in delivering bang, bang, bang. Like you set the goal and then these are the step 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you just hit bang, bang, bang on that. Then you articulated like saying like the UK is great in terms of the education, and that goes without saying. The kind of the education like the universities in UK or the talent you will get in US in terms of AI. But the blend of both, I mean, getting like the European guys getting transport to China and making them work, it may not work. But what the idea you did is like you found like the Chinese guys doing the graduation there, so they get the best university talent going back to the country and then doing. So I mean, I like that idea where like you pull the talent back. So you have the combination of the talent and you have the combination of that precision thing, that it has to happen like this. So that was like the brilliant idea, like. So
yeah, it was next level.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great.
That was one of my like, you did good.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that idea. Yeah. So I mean, after nearly 20 years, like in the same organization, at times, like it becomes like monotonous. Like so, like if we stay, I mean, most of the people say that. But what continue to challenge and motivate you to grow and evolve?
To be honest, I didn't stay in the same business unit. Yeah. So I started my career in one business unit, and now I'm like covering pretty much all of the bank apart from WPB. So it's every I think basically, like, it goes back to my bosses. Yeah. I think everyone knows, and psychological, books show this, that it takes 3 years for someone to get bored. Yeah. It's like storming, non-performing. You start, you learn, you normalize, and then you start performing, and then you start getting bored. So it's like that whole thing where it's like it's going to tail off at some point. And I think as soon as they see that I'm hitting like the coasting line, they're like, oh, let's move around. So I've been moved so many times. I've done so many different roles, so many different varying roles. Even today, I'm learning so much. I'm learning a different business unit completely. Different technology stack. It does not get boring, because I think if you move around in the bank so much, you get to see all elements of it. Yeah. And banking is not boring. It's very, very like, there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn, specifically on the products. Yeah. And you think about what underpins those products within the systems, it's kind of incredible. You think just across like algos, I mean, that in itself is like, you can learn algos for a long, long time. So because I've moved so many business units, and because I've done all these hops in all the countries, I've never got bored. I'm definitely on the learning curve now again, like, so yeah, for me, no, I wish I could get bored. Like, I'd love to just come into work and just coast, but no. That's not me. Like, I every day I ask myself, what am I going to learn today? Who am I going to help today? And I've done that throughout my whole career. And yeah, so, and I've been in the privileged position to change a lot of people and people's lives, a bit like someone changing mine, because like a teenage mother should it could be just another statistic here, but I'm not, and so I take that and I'm like, paying it forward, always paying it forward.
So you talked about like you moving to like various departments and then wearing different hats. So is it like the policy of your bank, or I mean, it was just like you because of
So
your
so
talent, because of your the
so
skill set you have?
That's a good question. So basically, in technology here, we really say that mobility is key,
Yeah.
specifically for retention. And you'll see that in HSBC, the tenure is very long. So you'll see a lot of long timers. I'm like, there's many of me. Let's just put it that way. There's many of me. And, there's a lot of people that have done 30 years, 35 years, because of the mobility that you have within the organization. But not only that, you have the mobility to move also to different locations. It's a very unique proposition.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's, yeah. And I think, I think a lot of people in the world are extremely loyal. Yeah, their loyalty is kind of like built in. So um, if you get that opportunity and you get that mobility, it's like the sweet spot equals the
Yeah.
sweet spot. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you rightly said. So, I mean, some like, I mean, I've seen in like in Indian banking. So, I mean, as a corporate strategy or a policy, they keep moving people after the every 3 years on an average. Like, when that's where like my question came from. So, is it like due to the policy, or is it because you were agile and you had that kind of thirst to really go, even if like move out of the country? Because there are very few people will have that kind of like the courage, or I mean that motivation to get engaged, because I mean a lot of people try to sit into their own comfort zone, so getting out of that is a challenge for the majority. So I mean, as a global CIO, I mean, and then handling the MENA market for HSBC, what does your day-to-day leadership really look like, and what are the strategic priority currently occupying most of your focus?
So the first thing I do when I take on a new team is I put them in a room. I lock them in a room, a whiteboard and pens, and I'm like, where's the pain? Where can we fix it? What do we need to
Mm.
do? What's our strategy going forward? What's our roles and responsibilities? And then I clarify it and write a strategy doc and get my boss to sign it off. I'm currently in the whole process of doing that, but in Mexico, I put everyone in, and the thing is, in Mexico, it was the first time I was the CIO of a country. So I really wanted to bring them down to my level. Like, no one knew who I was, if you think about it. Who's this lady coming in? She looks Argentinian. They all kept telling me I look Argentinian, but you're not. You're British. And they're like, who is she? So what I did is I put a PPT up, and I was like, this is who I am, and this will explain a lot. So I did a timeline of my career to date, and then I put my pictures of my kids up, and I put pictures of my cat up, and I tried to show them, look, I'm human just like you, and we're in this together, and we're gonna break this strategy together. Because the thing about Mexico is that it was very much living on a Spanish island. Everyone was speaking Spanish. The code was in Spanish. Everything was in Spanish. And I was tasked, no, you need to break it and make it global. You need to globalize it. So I went there with the directive to globalize it. You need to connect it into New York. You need to make sure that the people know what the strategy is. And also the other thing is that I needed to do a big DevOps drive and a big agile drive, and I needed to do a lot of automation because a lot of it was old school technology, and that's what we did. But I did it. I always try and do it with them having skin in the game, and when you take people in a room, you can really see who really wants to make a change. Like in Mexico, there was a guy who was like, me. And I was like, yes. Yes. He's just like, I've been wanting to do this for ages. So he helped me, put the strategy in motion. So you need to have those enablers that will allow you to put the strategy in motion, and you'll find them in the room, because the alienated followers will be there, but the people that really want to help you will also be there. We did so much in Mexico. I loved it because the technicians are very, very advanced, and they have this they have a very different way of thinking. And if you can tap into it, it's super creative. So they did a whole gamification on training, for instance, where they gamified training in the bank, and then sold it to HR. So it was really it was a very lovely, interesting time, to be honest. I really enjoyed it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think you got that knack to identify what is that ice cracker. I mean, otherwise, it's like the kind of the double-ended sword. Like maybe if it works, it works. If it does not work, I mean, that could have been a greater challenge. But at least you could just do that ice cracker. I mean, that's really great. So when coming to these things, you led the large and the distributed in engineering technology team. So what leadership principle guide you building the high performing teams across the geographies?
To be honest, I'm a leader from the front. So I don't let the guys do anything that I wouldn't do, and that example of Christmas is one of those. I will be in the trenches with you. I will work with you. I will get this thing done with you. I will set the tone with you. But I have a very, very high expectation that you will work and give me 150%. And that's always been my ethos. And yeah, for me, you try and tap into the mind and soul of your people. You try and see what makes them tick, and you use the qualities that they have for the best of your ability to do your strategy. And that's how I've always driven. That's how I've always driven it, and that's how I've always driven my teams.
So your biggest USP is I am there. So and then leading from the front, so that they don't feel they're left in the midst of seas or kind of way.
Yeah, and
I
also,
think that
yeah,
kind of
I
is a
agree.
faith.
Yeah.
So that is great. So these financial markets are often high pressure environment. How do you create that resilience and adaptability within the team while maintaining the speed and the accountability?
The accountability of sorry, say it again. Apologies.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, I mean, these markets are often high pressure environment, right?
Yeah.
And then how do you create that resilience, to sustain into this kind of the situation and adapting within the teams, and that to maintaining the speed and then still taking the accountability?
Yeah, so the thing is that what I try and do is become a trusted partner to the business.
Mm.
And once you become a trusted partner to the business, they respect you, they'll work with you, they won't throw anything at you, and it will be kind of like unity, if you know what I mean. And it will
Mhm.
help guide you in the right direction. So, and the other thing that I do is I really try and take the blockers away from the people. So if they've got issues, I will take them away from them so that they can just focus on delivery.
Mhm.
But it is a high pressured environment. There is, it's not an easy job. Specifically, when there's connection to the exchange and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, um, you have to help each other as much as possible. You have to have the best skill set that you can have within that team in the right place, in the right location, and you need to know where you're going. You need to know where the ship is
Mhm.
going, so that there's no rocks or icebergs in the way. So the idea is to take all of those away effectively, which
Yeah.
is why uh, our job is very nice, right? Because you do a retro, and you're always trying to figure out what the blockers are and take them away, and then move forward, drive forward, drive forward. But the retros are done with the business, so you're doing it as one, which is very nice.
Yeah. So like as you said, like I mean, there will be like the a true collaboration between the business leaders and the technology leaders. So
Yeah.
how do you strike that balance, and how does it look in modern banking ecosystem?
So basically, the best way is actually that you can't identify which one's tech and which one's biz. Like literally, I'll give you an example. Yeah, our big boss was here from London. He
Mhm.
walks around the floor, and there's business stakeholders and there's technology
Mhm.
stakeholders, and they talk about technology, and it's one and the same. And that basically what happened a few weeks ago here. So it's like, that's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. It's one
Mhm.
team, one strategy, one dream. And we are getting to the point now where everybody is, going to be learning some level of technology, be it digital, Python, AI, and we'll be using it in the day job, and that's whether
Mhm.
you're in the business or not. So
Mhm.
it's becoming like an emergence. It's an emergence, which is quite
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah. So like MENA region, as you know, like experiencing incredible wave in terms of the digital innovation in financial
Mm,
services. So from your
mm.
vantage point, what technology transformation trends are the most excited about? Yeah, I mean, in your
To be
industries
honest,
and right now.
yeah. To be honest, right now I'm really excited about AI because
Mhm.
we haven't even tapped into like 2% of what it can do for us. And if you
Mhm.
think about it, like everything that's coming up on in the market, like Copilot and Claude and
Mhm.
all of that, it's going to change how we fundamentally work, and it's going to make a very streamlined approach to the way that we do problem solving, which is something that I really love. So that's where, I keep saying to everyone, go go and start playing with AI now, because if you don't play with it now, it's gonna it's,
Yeah.
you'll look back and you'll be like, I remember when Linoy Kidd said I should do this. So yeah, it's like the internet, everyone uses the internet day in day out. It's just like, you know waking up in the morning and you got to drive to work. It's the same thing. So yeah, so definitely the
And
AI is
yeah,
very
correct.
changeable.
Absolutely. I mean, as you know, like it's a talk of the town now. And
Yeah.
then everyone, when there is no one in the world or no organization, whether it is a banks or any other industry, I mean, which they are not talking about the AI. I mean, that's a way forward. So if you're not with the AI, you're not there kind of way.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then as you rightly pointed out, like saying even business folks needs to understand that kind of way. And I think with the AI and the new technology, you need not be too much technical. I mean, whatever the way you're doing the writing in ChatGPT, just write that and then get the code built and so on and so forth. So I think those kind of things are emerging, and as you rightly said, you need to play with it. So don't be like the afraid of. I mean, that's a quite good thought process. So one of the hardest challenges, like in large financial institution like you, is balancing the innovation with the stability, because there is always like you will be tempted for the innovation. On the other hand, because of the regulatory things, the exchange, the central banks of the world, respective in the countries where you are operating, how do you approach that modernizing the legacy system while ensuring the reliability for the mission critical banking operations?
Yeah, you have to strike a balance. So every country has its own policy on what can reside in and outside of the country. Different countries have a different regulatory body that will regulate that. Saudi Arabia has the PDPL and Article 42, which won't allow you to have any personal data outside the kingdom, and then you have differing of that across the countries. So basically, the way that we can foresee this is we want stability. So the core banking platform needs to be stable, but the slice of the to the client, or the front end, you can use innovation on that side, but the core engine needs to be as stable as possible. Which is why, when I do a lot of conferences, everyone's like, are you not scared that AI is going to take our job? And I'm like, not while AS400 is still in the bag. We still need to manage the old guard versus the new guard. So yeah, I think that it's a fine balance. And the thing is, because I've been in the bank so long, it's very easy for me to manage that strategy. Yeah, but I think for someone coming in new, it would be difficult. So if you're, for instance, my nephew, yeah, he just graduated. He's got like a first master's computer science. He wants to use AI in his day job every day. Yeah, he wants to use all the new technology, and he's very, very good at writing pieces of code that can be monetized using the new technology. But imagine putting him in an AS400 team. So you need to strike a balance, and you need to know where you're putting your talent. I'm not talking about, it depends where the skill set is. Someone can be very talented on AS400. Someone can be very talented on AI. You just need to know where to place them. It's all about the placement.
Yeah, and as you rightly said, like even large banks like you, or like large other institutions globally, I mean, you can't just dump like the existing systems, because they exist because of their reliability, high performance, etc. But then, is there any like the golden center where like you continue to use them and then still leverage the AI? I mean, that is where like striking the balance or finding some golden center. I mean, that's exactly where like continue to use the legacy system, but I mean, do not have the restriction where like even you can still leverage the AI and that all this like the fancy things like which is being talked in the market like LLMs, etc. So coming to like this the cloud platforms, there are data ecosystems and platform-based architecture are reshaping the enterprise technology. So how do you see the capabilities redefining the future architecture and then global banking technology?
So I went to one of these innovation conferences like last year in Dubai in DIFC. You probably were there, to be honest. And I saw these data centers. Yeah, I saw how they're gonna the next gen of data centers. To be honest, it blew me away. I was like, wow, this is like next level. Like on the roof, they had panels. On the side, they had trees. On the side of that, they had wind panels. I was just like, everything was built with clean energy. Everything. So, for me, the future looks so green, and the way that we build our systems should also, be like that. So I think we need to really think about the way that we architect and think about, how we can do. I mean, a few years ago, it was all about cloud, and utilizing cloud to the best of its ability, etc., etc. Now it's all about net zero, and using the tools that we've got to build the best, and architect the best. So, yeah, I mean, I really think that we're in a very sweet spot. We're in this position where we can do amazing things. It's a lot easier to build from scratch rather than rebuild. That's all I would say. The rebuild is a lot tougher than building from scratch.
Yeah.
So you can see these data centers that are built from scratch and they're just so beautiful. Oh man. Yeah. Using the new tech.
Yeah. So as you know, like this new tech, the AI, the generative AI, agentic AI, etc. I mean, it's like the tempting. But like, I mean, in a large organization like you, how do you evaluate, prioritize which technologies are truly worth investing in?
So the problem that we've got, is that we have to make sure that we hit our regulatory commitments around data and all the rest of it. And we're in so many countries, so we need to make sure. So we've actually built our own AI in-house, which hits all of those regulatory tick boxes. So we have our own version of ChatGPT, for instance, that I use every day. I love it. So yeah, and again across the stack, like Copilot for code, but that we have to evaluate because there's some new tools coming in that you can't use in China, and we have a huge team in China. Yeah, so we need to think about these things. It's like you have to do a full POC. Yeah.
So, I mean, as you said, like bank because of the governance and the regulatory controls, and then you talked about like you are using that in-house, you have the team. So when you use this, like the tool or this LLMs or you talked about like the chat GPT, so you build your own or you are
build our own.
So which is like the in-house. There is nothing like
in-house.
You are using some like Copilot from the third party or LLMs from third party.
We have a combination. We have a combination of both, but it has to go through regulatory scrutiny.
Yeah, because like most countries like GDPR in Europe, you talk about like the Saudi DPDP in India. I mean, there is like always I mean, there is a governance, there are the guidelines, but that guidelines do say like if there is the information which is like some sensitive information should reside. Typically, like your core system will have the specific information. But however, something which is stored and something which is only used, and I think that must be the guidelines the globally, which can be just used for the processing. One is like the storage part of it, another is the processing part of it. So is that way even your policies are saying? Because like when you are making
it's the same.
calls,
it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same. You got to remember, because the thing is, sometimes we can't use global cloud. There are many countries that can't use global cloud, for instance. So if you're using Google or an AWS that's outside of country, it's very hard to get different countries to sign up on it because of because they're heavily regulated.
Absolutely.
So sometimes what applies to one country doesn't apply to another country.
Yeah. But let us say like you talked about like the Google or Amazon or like let us say Azure for that matter. They do have like this like agreements like let's talk about like the Hong Kong, let's talk about China or Singapore or Dubai, UAE.
Yeah.
So like if there is like the local instance where they are saying, oh, I'm
Then
not
it's
carrying the
fine.
data, it's fine,
Then
right?
it's fine.
So the storing the
Yeah,
data
yeah,
locally,
yeah,
but and then
yeah,
processing even
yeah.
it goes out shouldn't be a problem, right?
Yeah.
As per the
So
regulatory challenges.
yeah. So we have different cloud providers in different countries. Alibaba is our China cloud
Yeah.
provider. It's in country.
In country. So like they
In country.
give, yeah, they give all the proofs and they have got all
In
the green
country.
ticks for the in country
Yeah.
and
And
then maintaining.
Google went live with their Saudi Arabia outfit two
Yeah,
years ago.
absolutely.
Local local
But
cloud.
at times like there seems to be like the confusion when we talk to the people. They said no, it's no go. I mean like, and then we keep talking like saying it's
No, but
not like talking.
you need to educate
Exactly.
them. You need to
Yeah.
educate them because if it's local cloud, it will hit the 42 Article 42. But if it's not, then it won't.
Mhm. Good. So what do you see like the biggest opportunities using these technologies like in your banking operation or like your customer experience and the markets like with all I mean we talked about like the Gen AI or LLMs and then AI technology. What kind of the use cases or like things the new innovative stuff which you can which you foresee when you have done it and something which we want to do it.
Yeah. So a few years ago, we were really big on robotics. We really looked at robotics, and we streamlined a lot of the manual tasks.
Mm.
And now with Copilot coming in, you're looking at efficiency gain. And again, with localized AI, you're looking at efficiency gain as well. So there's a lot that can be done with with those toolkits. And yeah, in terms of efficiency
Yes,
across the stack.
correct. So you talked about using robotics for replacing mundane stuff with this,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
robotics, and then
yeah,
improving the TAT efficiency, etc.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
something on like the AI decision-driven decision making, and then something on the customer experience side of it also. Yeah. So using these technologies for, I mean, giving the better or these days called about like the hyper personalized experience to the customers. Like, so have you done something or you intend to do something on that side?
On the usability,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, we yeah. So basically, we are trying to unify
Mm-hmm.
our usability framework
Mm-hmm.
for the business line and
Mm-hmm.
make it as user friendly as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we are using digitalization for that
Mm-hmm.
across the stack. But what we want to do is have a unified platform. But it's very hard to do, but we're trying.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a need of the hour because, like, I mean, otherwise, like the things are fragmented or like in silos. I mean, how like you can have like the unified view. So when customers are like interacting, I mean, they get the unified view and then similar experience across wherever they initiate the conversations with the bank. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
great thought process. So, Lina, I like you were recently recognized among the top 100 BFSI leader in Middle East in 2025. So, at this stage of your career, what did that recognition mean for you personally and professionally?
Um, I'm kind of embarrassed about the awards. It's it's very for me. It's very humbling that
Mhm.
someone outside of your organization will recognize you. So the first award I ever got is actually very funny. So I got Qatar CIO of the Year. And that's because in COVID, I gave birth to my son. And there was a conference in Qatar where all the CIOs and COOs and CFOs go. And I gave a speech. And at the end of the speech, they asked me about my delivery. And I said, oh, I've just delivered this. And then I put the camera down to my son and said, here's my baby. He's only 3 weeks old. And they were so astounded that I did that conference with my baby in my arm. And not only did he sleep throughout, he was like a little angel. So they kind of gave me the award the year after. And to be honest with you, that award meant so much to me. It was the first award I'd ever got in my career. And I just felt like I'd made it. I just felt for the first time, all the hard work, all the sweat, all the tears, all the weekends meant something. And it was like, and it was given to me in this package, this small package. And as any woman would tell you, that like to do this job and have children is it's a mission, because you have to juggle so many things. And the job is very demanding, and it can demand a lot of your time. Like I missed a lot of sports days and stuff like that. And it's, you look back and you kind of regret, oh, I wish I'd have done more sports days. But that award really, it kind of is like, it means something. The missing meant something. And then when I got the other award in 2025, I was just like, wow, I can die happy now. That's why I felt like I could die happy now. So I was very very humbled by it. I still am humbled by it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's so nice of you. Despite of getting so many awards, and then first award is always one remember, and that too, like you said, you had the baby, which is just couple of weeks holding in your arm. That showcased your commitment towards or your duty, your job, or towards the organization, and then whoever you're delivering that to the customers or internal customers. That really display and then showcase your commitment towards the organization and then internal customer. And I think it's really difficult, and one who has got that passion, or I would say the madness, only those will able to do it. And somebody who's just doing that sake of the job or duty, they cannot have that kind of the passion. It has to be in your blood to do this kind of way. Which is something very unique, and maybe your organization must be lucky to have this kind of the CXO working with them. So that's really great. So beyond your role in corporate world, you have been actively involved in philanthropic initiatives, including fundraising efforts to build a school. What does that commitment giving back come from? Where does that come from?
So when I was a kid, my grandmother, she would ask me to teach her to read and write, because she's Kurdish. She was born in Baghdad. She couldn't read or write. She was never given that toolkit. And so at that point in my life, you're like 10, 11, I said to myself, I never want another woman not to have that education. And I basically kind of it spearheaded me, and I said, I really want to be able to give back to community. And so when my eldest daughter left home to go to university when she was 18, I was at a management training course, and there was 33 people on that management training course. I worked out that if every single person on that course raised 1,000 USD, we could build a school in Africa, because that's how much a school is. So I stood up in front of them all and I said, do you want to walk 100 kilometers? So that's how we got the money, the sponsorship. Do you want to walk 100 kilometers with me, raise 1,000 USD, and then come to Africa and build it? And they all, like standing ovation. Yeah, let's do it. So so we walked that 100 kilometers. It took 24 hours. And then we went and built the school in Africa. And their school was built in Malawi. This is 11 years ago now. And at the end of the course, the manager of that company, IDG at the time, he said, "Oh, Linoy, this is amazing, but do you think you can keep it going?" And I like a challenge, so I said yes. So the year after, we walked 300 kilometers, so 3 times, and then we raised enough money for 2 schools. So then, basically, year on year, that's what we've done, and we've built 11 schools and 1 house for the homeless in Mexico so far. And those schools do after school, so they take teenage mothers and they go and educate them on their after school studies. So they do a high school diploma, and then in Malawi specifically, we built 5. So we end up going back to the schools that we've built before, and then we go and meet the mothers and the grandmothers, and they say, "Oh, Linoy, you changed our life, because now we can read, we can go to the market, we can sell our fruit and veg." They've set up businesses. Some of them have set up banks. So we kind of like changing their life forever. And in one school in particular, it's a little village called Mfazi. They've had no teenage pregnancy for the past 5 years. So it's like it's kind of like changing the world and paying it forward. Like I said to you, that guy really changed my life when I went in with my baby, and I've just tried to pay it forward ever since that moment. And I always try and pay it forward. It would be in corporate or outside. I'm always trying to pay it forward.
Well, that's really incredible. And I think, I really appreciate. And then, you're doing that kind of like the noble work, for the society. Very few people we really do that, and they have like that kind of like the mindset, and then this is like the something inherent, something which need to come deep of your heart. Not everyone can just acquire it for sake of doing it. That's really incredible. So coming like finally, what do you think about the future? What kind of the impact or legacy you would like to create, both as a technology leader and as a person?
So I always say this: if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I'll be happy because of everything that I've achieved to date. There's only one more thing that I want to do within corporate life, and that's, I really want to go to the next level. So I'm a director now. I really want to be an MD. And then in my charity work life, it's really not going to stop. And like every year, I'm thinking about new things that I want to do. So what I try and do is every location that I live in, I really try and change the community around me. So in Mexico, I built a house for the homeless because when I was walking down the street, there's a lot of homeless there, and I really wanted to make an impact in the country that I was living. And in Dubai, every year during Ramadan, we're feeding at iftar 1,000 people. So I want to build orphanages, and I'm kind of crazy. I don't have a stopper in the brain. And my friends are like, "Can you just calm down and sit on the sofa like the rest of us?" And I'm like, no, I'm just continuously driving forward. So I really want to make a change in the world. I really want to. And I've said that I'll build a school a year until I die, and then I'm passing the legacy on to my children. In 2 years, my son will come with me to build, which will be amazing. And then he'll just keep coming with me until I can't dig anymore. But I come from a very, very strong line of Kurdish women, and my mum is still going strong. So I don't think I'm going to stop anytime soon. So yeah, so I'm striving on both the corporate side and the charity side to keep going, growing and growing and growing. And my idea is to create communities within communities and change as many people's lives as possible until I die.
So we really appreciate you have given the time to us, and then a lot of good insight. The conversations we had during this last 60 minutes. So we will definitely will keep in touch,